I mean, this movie was better than the original. It was still ass. And this one came out 7 years after the first one. And it managed to have a slur in it, but the other one didn't. No, I know it's an 80s movie, so whatever, but I always find it weird when I watch a franchise and then like the first movie won't have any slurs in it and nothing really wrong with it. But then like the rest of the movies start to have slurs, it's always weird. Hopefully this is the only one, but she tries to forcibly have sex with someone. Tries to rape him. And then when he doesn't want to have sex, she calls him the F slur. So, yeah, that was fun. Anyways, basically the plot of this one is fucking it's so stupid. Like the first one was pretty simple. A kid got killed when she was playing a game with her friends and they didn't tell what really happened, so they assumed it was the local child molester, which honestly he isn't even like a big part of the movie for whatever reason in the first movie. But anyway, in this one, it's this girl cheats on her boyfriend, laughs about it, brags about it in his face, and she doesn't really deny it, but she does it in like this asshole way. Most cheaters, they're like, it's not what it looks like, or I still love you, or some bullshit like that. But she's kind of like, well, it's not exactly what it seems. And then she laughs at his face and then starts kissing the dude. Like, that's like probably the weirdest reaction I've ever seen. So he obviously wants revenge on her for cheating, so he tries to do, a little harmless prank where he throws a stink bomb when she wins prom queen. But the stink bomb catches fire on her dress and she burns alive. So decades later, she wants revenge. And how does she get revenge? She hangs a teenager that had nothing to do with it early on in the movie. That we already saw that she's having problems. Like I think they tried to do it to make it sad. Like she's pregnant, her boyfriend that got her pregnant isn't answering her. Just ignoring her messages and calls and shit. And then not too later, she gets hung. And this movie's supposed to be like, oh yeah, ghost shit, whatever. Like she's haunting from the grave, but really not much happens with that. It's just confusing shit with the main character, Jezebel. I think her name is. Her mom calls her that, like, super late into the movie. There's just, like, visions and shit, and she sees shit and whatever. It's just such a confusing, weird movie, but it's so dumb and entertaining that it makes up for it. Unlike the first movie, which was just kind of boring. There's parts that are just try way too hard to be scary, and it's not. There's a lot of hilarious jokes in this movie, which is probably my favorite thing. If there's a joke in this movie, you're probably gonna laugh at it because the jokes are pretty funny. There's probably only like 3 or 4 jokes, and I think I laughed at least 3 of them because they were all pretty funny. They did pretty well on the humor, which I just didn't expect from an '80s movie because obviously it's not a movie from my time, so I couldn't relate to stuff as much. But the jokes were pretty funny. Um, So yeah, basically the whole movie is just about a girl that cheats on her boyfriend wanting revenge because he accidentally killed her. I mean, obviously he should have took accountability and went to jail, and he deserved to be in jail for at least 20 years of his life for that shit. He killed a girl, even if it was an accident. Instead of just confronting her better, or I don't know. I don't know what he could have done in that situation, but throwing a stink bomb up super high and it catching fire and killing her, and you just kind of watch, but maybe yell like once for help. There's also a douchebag priest in this movie who, when Jess kills herself, well, obviously doesn't kill herself. She gets killed by the ghost. Whatever bullshit. During her funeral, he talks about violence and he's like, well, the violence of her death, it should remind us of, the violence in our streets. Kind of taking the attention off of the fact that a girl died. But that's not too bad. The street line. You know what he says right after? He talks about violence on television. Jesus Christ. That's just such a badly aged line. Though people still try and use that shit today with like, oh yeah, people are school shooters because of violent video games. It makes him just seem like such a douchebag. So later when he gets killed and they try to make it like this sad moment, I don't give a fuck. At a girl's funeral, he brought up violence on television. What the fuck? I don't give a fuck about this dude. Then there's also like this cute relationship between Josh and this random chick that is super irrelevant. Like, I liked her, but she didn't do shit in this movie. Her and Josh have like this cute moment, and then I guess he kinda cheats on her later in the movie. Because I don't know what the fuck they were going for. He kinda asked her to the prom, and oh, that reminds me, there was like this funny joke earlier in the movie where she's like, oh, I'm so pretty, why won't a boy ask me to prom? Then this seemingly nice kid, because I'm just gonna say seemingly nice, because this is his only scene in the movie, is like, hey, Monica. Okay, yeah, that was her name. Monica. Hey, Monica. Can we talk after school? And then she calls him an asshole and tells him to leave her alone. Like, he clearly wanted to ask her to prom or something. And I thought that was a pretty funny joke. Just the way it was delivered. Anyways. So, he later gets Monica to come with him. Josh does. And there's like this cute moment that I thought was actually pretty cute. I'm not, usually one for romance. But he's like, she's like clearly teasing him. She clearly likes him. She doesn't really want to go to the prom though. She tries to like joke about that. Like she doesn't want to go with him to prom because people would think that they were dating and they might kiss when they were there. And he's like, well, then why don't we kiss now? And maybe it'll be so bad that we won't kiss again at the prom. And then they kiss. And then he's like, is there anything else you want to do before we get there? It was a pretty funny and cute moment. But then they never interact together in the movie again. They're never together again in the movie. Monica like shows up in a oh yeah, now I remember. Monica actually like dies or whatever. That's why she doesn't show up. Her death was very forgettable though. It wasn't even close to being cool. They definitely upped the deaths in this movie. The deaths looked a lot better in this movie. Way more creative too. Anyways, like he later kinda I guess cheats on her. He doesn't even mention the fact that Monica's missing, and he has like the popular girl that's been a douche somewhat throughout the movie give him a blowjob so she can be guaranteed to be prom queen, which doesn't work because when he types it into the computer, Mary Lou wants her revenge and kills him and electrocutes him through the computer or whatever. So she gave him a blowjob for no reason. And then, like, I'm pretty sure she dies too. I don't know. This movie's kind of forgettable. they also linger way too much on Jezebel being naked. Which I don't even think that scene makes sense because they were getting dressed right before. Like, the one girl's getting dressed. She had a towel on, she's getting dressed. And then she tries to confront her about something she did in there earlier in the movie, which I want to talk about in a little bit because I'll get too off topic. But she tries to confront her about something that happened earlier in the movie and like keeps turning the radio off and shit. Because she keeps turning it back on. And in that scene, they were getting dressed. Well, literally seconds later, they're the girl that said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go tell Craig, her boyfriend, that that she's acting weird. They need to figure something out about it." And then she's taking a shower. Okay, whatever. Then she tries to apologize to her, so I guess she changed her mind. But it doesn't explain the fact why she's naked again. They clearly already took their showers and got dressed. I really don't get why they did that, besides they wanted more nudity, even though we just had nudity very briefly in that scene. And, once again, this movie is about high schoolers, obviously, because it's prom night. Though the girl, Monica, was confirmed to be like 18, and it doesn't make it any better. And she's only naked for like a few seconds. And then during the shower scene, she's naked for probably a few more seconds. But the girl that they never say what her age is, from what I remember anyway, she's naked for a long ass time. Not to mention, she's being possessed by like Mary Lou or whatever now, who was 17, though it's a different body or whatever, but we still don't know what Jezebel's age is. It's weird. Now back to the thing where she tried to confront her about something that happened earlier in the movie. I thought it was fucking stupid that they glanced over it. But she gets sexually harassed by her teacher. The teacher grabs her ass while talking to her about a school project, and then she burns his dick for it, for like one of his, like, I don't know, I guess it's like science class, and he has like this experiment, and when he comes towards it, she like burns his dick with fire or whatever and smiles about it, which I was like, yeah, damn right, he deserved that. But apparently Monica is like, "Oh, I saw what you did to the teacher. You definitely did something to him." And are okay, are you not going to say anything about the fact that your friend was sexually harassed? You only care because she hurt him? What? What? This movie's so fucking weird. Um I thought the teacher dude that got cheated on was pretty smart. Um Probably one of the smartest horror characters in history. He finds out that, Mary Lou is possessing the student's body. And what does the dude do? He pulls up with a fucking gun to the prom and shoots her. That should have worked because it was just a ghost possessing her body. The ghost would, still be around or whatever. And would probably just go and possess somebody else. But it should have worked. It doesn't work for some reason. Because she comes out of the girl that he shot body, and she's like this gross looking dead rotten corpse, and then she turns back into like what she looked like when she was 17, back to what she looked like before. Obviously she died and got burnt because they couldn't use makeup to make her look burnt. They had to have her just be before she got burnt, I guess. Whatever. It still doesn't make sense either. Then like she basically gets killed or whatever. It's so dumb. Then the movie ends with the fact that she actually wasn't killed. She just possessed the guy that um she cheated on. So now she's controlling the dude she cheated on. Well, that's an asshole move. Um they also have like once she starts possessing the body, she just does like the same fucking lines half the time. Like she had a few lines in the beginning of the movie before she died in the opening scene, obviously. Um She calls people a bonehead. She says stuff like "see ya later, alligator." Calls stuff swell or whatever. She was like in the born in the 40s and she died in like 1957. I don't know when the movie actually takes place though. They just say it's decades later, so I'm gonna assume it's 1987, like when this movie came out. But yeah, she just says the same shit half the time. See you later, alligator. See you later, alligator. And calls people boneheads and shit. It's because I guess they couldn't try and adapt to the little bit of personality we got from the opening. They just had to only use the personality we saw in the opening in the same lines. It's so dumb. And Craig and Jezebel didn't really have any personality together in the movie. The most personality we got was the fact that the mom was overly religious and didn't like them together and didn't want them to be together, and that was really all we got for their relationship. And that really doesn't have anything to do with them. We only had one scene that somewhat showed them together, like early on in the movie, and that I almost forgot about, where like he put sugar in his coffee and he's like, "Oh, that'll kill you." So later, when he wants to make sure that she's not the ghost or whatever, um, he's like, "Do you like sugar in your coffee?" And she's like, "No, it'll kill you." Because earlier the ghost girl like tried to trick him when she was in her body or whatever. It's I this movie's just so confusing, weird, dumb, and stupid. But it's definitely worth a watch. That is for sure. And like I said, some of the jokes are really funny. But yeah, I guess that's really about it. Oh, actually, one thing. They say that the priest can't be possessed for whatever reason. And then he gets killed like 10 minutes later, so I don't think that really matters. Like, who cares if he can't get possessed? He's dead now. I don't know if that's like something that is written in the Bible or whatever. I have no idea, but it's like, she's gonna come after you. She wants revenge on you because you killed her. She won't fuck with me because I'm a priest. She can't do anything to me. And then he gets killed. Like, okay, whatever.